Good evening. Welcome to the Pro New England. That's the Professional Remodeling Organization March membership meeting. Mr. Justin Zeller.
Thank you. Mike, I appreciate that. Tom, sorry to see you go. It's close enough. You can all hear me. So I want to, I'm excited about tonight. Marketing as a part of what we do as companies, as organizations, is incredibly important because it's a part of how we spread the message about who we are as cultures, as companies. And I think we're all in for a treat tonight to be able to have the opportunity to hear from some really inspirational people in our industry and in our particular market. If you guys would come on up, I'd love to introduce you. So the structure of tonight's evening, what we want to do is go through a few topics of marketing, what it means to the folks on the panel, hear different points of view and different takes. And then toward the end of the hour that we have to talk about it, just open it up for some questions from folks in the room as well. I want to start off with Kevin Cradock. Kevin Cradock Builders, would you mind grabbing a mic and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure, yeah. Is that on?
I think you have to flip it on.
Hello. Hey. I'm Kevin Cradock. I know a lot of you, but if you don't know me, I'm a builder. I work in Boston. We do mostly high-end whole house renovations. You know, really building new stuff is kind of a small percentage of the work we do. If you know me, you know I'm all about my team, and that's really what I promote in my marketing, my team.
That's great. Thank you very much, Kevin. And Allison Iantosca.
Hi, I'm Allison Iantosca. I am the owner of FH Perry Builder. I think we're all going to say we all do the same kind of work. High-end, Boston, not new. But as we go along, hopefully you'll see some of the distinguishing factors about how we go about it. So,
yeah. Thank you. And Eric.
I'm Eric Adams. I'm one of the founders of Adams and Beasley Associates. We are also a high-end builder, also focus on restorations, and like Kevin, we really focus on our people. So I guess more to come on that.
Okay, thank you. And Peter.
Yes, so I think I'm a little different because we are a design builder. We have a 7-person design staff plus our project management and carpentry staff. So we design and build everything that we do. We don't do that much in Boston these days, which is fine as far as traffic is off, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's good. So we'll talk a lot about marketing and what marketing means to each one of us. This is a great, really smart group of people. I was hoping Allison would just do prose all night.
You can hold on to that. So I think, at the beginning of the evening, Allison had sort of brought that up, that what do each of these people here bring that's really different? And besides the fact that it is an industry-specific marketing meeting, so you are all supposed to be in the market of remodeling, I am curious about what each the message, because one piece of marketing is supposed to be differentiation. So how do you use the marketing? What do you see as like the key of marketing? Why do you do it? Eric, do you want to start?
Sure.
Yeah, just flip it on.
So I think that I learned a lot. I didn't know anything about marketing when I started my business, and I think that the thing that I've realized over the last 17 years, is for us, for me, marketing is about telling stories, and it's about being authentic to who you are as an individual and as an organization, right? Because your organization hopefully is a reflection of your own values, your differentiators. As Justin said, I mean, this is an amazing company. I'm humbled to be up here with you guys. And we overlap a lot in terms of the type of people that we want to work with and the things that we build. But ultimately, we work for individuals, and we are individuals, and we're all different. And people who hire us seek different things from us. And so from a marketing standpoint, I think our overarching goal is to try to tell the story of what Adams and Beasley does differently from our distinguished colleagues. And I think it's gotten more and more complicated. I don't know how much I should ramble up here, but there's many facets to marketing. But I think generally speaking, for us, it's about a really dynamic combination of what we call the grit and the polish. So it's everything from, as I said to someone earlier tonight, the sparks flying when our structural steel fabricators on site trying to get a beam installed, to that, I don't even know how to do it, that like fluffing of the pillow, the karate chop on the pillow, on the couch of the, finished product, and everything in between. And the way that you can kind of package that and push it out to the world and all the different channels that we have opportunities to do is what we endeavor to do in our marketing organization.
That's great. Thank you. Allison, would you talk into how you sort of, like, how do you determine what that differentiator is for you, and how do you think that other people in the group might sort of find that voice, whatever that is?
Yeah, as I was listening to Eric talk, one of the things that it's such a powerful process to go through putting together your thoughts about marketing. And every single time we've ever done it, and I think we've probably done, in my tenure at the company, have done it 3 or 4 times, where we would, what you might consider or call a rebrand, a reset, a retelling of your story. We always overachieved. We always became more than we thought. We always put out this sort of ideal vision and then grew into it. And that is a really powerful thing to do, to take the time to think about who you want to be and what your story is that you want to put out to the world. That's only your story. The 4 of us do very similar kind of work, but if you sat with someone who was helping us to guide and think about what it is that we wanted to tell as our story, that's where we become different. There are no 2 snowflakes, no 2 same raindrops, no 2 people, no 2 builders that are exactly alike. And so the fun of it is being able to find the truth inside of your story, your values, why you're showing up to do the work that you're doing every day, and hope that connects with whoever you are going to then go and work for. So I just wanted to sort of say that the process of putting that plan together, you may think you're paying a marketing consultant however X many of dollars, we won't talk about dollars, that you put into that. And yes, do you come out with a beautiful logo or a beautiful website, a beautiful whatever the end product is? Absolutely. But you get so much more out of the experience because you get your story, you get to learn about who you are and what matters to you.
Peter, what would you say is your differentiator as a company? You've been doing this a while. What have you seen your own sort of vision for the company or the way that you brand yourself as a company? Has that changed, and how have you come to that message over time?
Well, I think marketing starts with who are you and what do you want to do and how do you want to serve your client base. And early on, I knew that design build was how I wanted to do it. So then, not only do you have to market it, you have to hire the people who can do the design work, in my case, and then you have to have the carpenters who can do really good implementation of good design work, and you have to have project managers who can really manage clients and carpenters and subcontractors and all the parts and pieces. So for me, marketing was not just, because I've heard someone say earlier, well, we don't need to market now, we're all so busy. I mean, I had 2.5 times more leads in 2021 than I ever did in 10 years prior to that in terms of individual years. So, but we market because marketing keeps reminding us who we are as a company and what product do we provide and what service are we offering to our client bases. So I think that's really the important piece. And for me, it was not just being design build, but it was being the best design builder I could possibly be and constantly keep growing that company so that I could do that better, so that I can show the marketplace that we are the people. If you want to do design build, you can come reach us and we will deliver that service. So it's been this kind of step process over the decades. But for me, the differentiator always was, early on, it was design build when people weren't doing design build. Back in I've been in business 35 years. I became a design builder in the early 90s. So I was pretty young in the industry for that. And it was really just kind of building it over the years and then getting better. And as more people did design build and got better run companies, how do I keep getting better at it? So for me, what's motivated me for 35 years and still motivates me, how do we keep being the best company we can be so we can deliver what we say we're going to deliver so our clients keep coming back or tell other people they should come use us?
So, Peter, are you saying that there's a correlation between like the inspirational message that you put out there and then you having to live up to that message?
I think you said it right. You can't just have a marketing idea. You have to be able to deliver on the idea if you're of integrity. I mean, I think there's some people out there who don't have high integrity, but high integrity has always been a high value of ours.
I think we have a code of conduct to get in to the organization. So,
yeah.
Kevin, with you, when you think about that message that identifies who you are, and maybe do you see that sense of that being aspirational that also leads you to where you want to be, or do you feel like you're just describing who you are?
Honestly, yeah. What I'm trying to do in my marketing, I mean, I guess I should say, just back to Eric's comment about the grit and the polish. I think we all do the polish. I think we all do it really well. We work with teams of people that help us. But I think the thing that distinguishes, the way that I do it is the personal touch and the stuff that I do on Instagram and really showing my passion for the team, the passion for the quality of the work that we do and all kinds of things like that, right? But in that, I'm so passionate, yes, I do imagine something and become it. That's a big part. I think that's a big part of growth as a business. It's all about the objective. We can get there. We can all get there in different ways, but like, where do I want to be? And, can I create something? Can I turn, my ideas and my dreams into something amazing just through like sheer passion, like, hey, I'm going to do this. So that's my approach. It's all natural, I would say. You know what I mean? It's like I don't have I know eventually where I want to be, where I want to get to, and I just look for the next step really, and create my own destiny really.
And so for each of you, and maybe starting with you, Kevin, do you do all of that on your own, on your team, or do you have somebody on your team that helps you with the marketing aspect of what you do, and maybe what does that look like?
Yeah, so for the polish part, definitely Cheryl. I work with Cheryl Savitt here. She helps with awards and publications and things like that. The more gritty stuff, I have people on my team who help me get content because we have a lot of projects all over the place. I'm not at those projects all the time. So, I've got a lot of support in getting content, and then I kind of sift through the content and really find the value in there, find the passion, find the story, and put that out there. So I've got a lot of people helping me, but to me it's really critical that, especially the Instagram stuff that I do myself is very interactive, so I need to be the one that does it. Because I put out I get immediate response to the stuff that I put out. I get immediate data on how much traction. You know, I mean, I do polish too on Instagram. I'll put out a, you know, professional photo, and I'll say a short couple of sentences, like a lot of people do. That's kind of like the norm for, you know, a high-end builder on Instagram. Say something a little bit poetic, throw up a finished photo, you know, and leave it at that. You know, I take that and then, you know, I want to always add my authenticity. I want to add the proof that I actually did the work. So I put the finished photo, and then I'll put my team doing the work. So I'll have progress photos. If I have a before shot of what that was before we even started, I'll put that. So it's kind of like, it really tells the whole story just in one post. You know, where we started, who are all the people that did this, you know, why do we care about what we do? And, you know, so I package that all up, and it goes out to a bunch of different people. So I get people that say, like, hey, I love your work. How can I work with you? I get people that say, I'm an aspiring woodworker or carpenter. How do I get involved in the type of work that you do? I hear from vendors, you know, all different people from all different walks of life, people from all over the country remodeling their houses in other regions, and just ask me, like, what is that? You know, I mean, obviously, or not, maybe not obviously, the most common question I get is, what's that paint color? That's a big one. But really, like, how do you do that? And you just say white. Yeah, I usually, I mean, sometimes I put it out there, but really, it's, you know, that kind of stuff. It's kind of, you just hit it with a like. You know what I mean? Because we can't be giving away all of the paint colors. And honestly, a lot of times I don't know the paint colors. But yeah, it's really that, you know, just kind of putting it all out there and trying to, like, hit all the different audiences and interact with them.
So it sounds like when you talk about that authenticity of voice, that sense of voice in marketing and creating a narrative for who you are as a company, who your company is as a group of people, a lot of that may come from different people. It sounds like you're getting contributions from different people on your team. Yeah. But in the end, you're really tailoring that and helping to make sure that that voice is yours and is authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm that great of a writer, but I write all of my social media stuff. I write it all, and I think the reason people react to it is because the passion's in there. It's not professional writing, but, you know, I'm talking about things that are really important to me. And that comes through. I mean, you can't fake it, honestly. You really can't. Right. You know.
Allison, for you, in thinking about that same idea of voice and how it comes through, and who on your team helps with marketing, can you describe how that works for your team?
Yeah, I mean, much like Kevin, the importance to me of the authentic voice, especially on Instagram, like, here are true confessions. I cannot stand social media. I don't have a personal Facebook page. I don't have a personal Instagram. Like, it just chokes me. It just does. So for any of you out there who are like, I hate social media, I'm here for you. And yet, it's something we have to do. It's something we have to do. So here, the pieces that have come for me is, I am not going to ship it out to somebody who doesn't get me. I'm just not going to do it, because then it's not authentic. Then when you're looking at my page, you have no idea what we are. You just see pretty pictures of pretty buildings that we've done. So that's one thing. And many times, and especially when things like Instagram was new, there was a lot of trying to find someone in California would say, I can do your Instagram page. I'm like, no, you can't. First of all, you don't understand New England, and you're going to post things that are incorrect. And second of all, you don't understand me and my heart. I did it for a long time, and I set up a schedule. I had my to-do list, and I had Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I had to check the damn box to make sure that I actually did it, right? Eventually, and so two things. One is, during COVID, we started a marketing task force team, an internal marketing task force team. So I pulled my accounts payable person, the woman who runs our small projects group, one of my sales guys. They love marketing. They have ideas all the time. My accounts payable person, she's a office person. She loves it. She has the best ideas. We get together once a month. During COVID, we were getting together every other week because what the hell else were we going to do? And we just talked about how to connect with people who we wanted to connect with. And a lot of our strategy over that time was how do we stay connected. So I have more FH Perry Builder swag in my arsenal now than we've ever had before. But it was a way of saying, here's a gift. I see you. Here's something tangible for me to connect with, right? That came out of my team. Out of that also, it turns out that Liz is not such a bad writer. And she likes to do it, and she has lots to say, and she gets my voice, and she gets our story, and she's doing a really good job running social media and Instagram. And I don't know if she likes it or not, but I pay her to do it, so she kind of rallies. So it's just it's been interesting to actually be able to find someone inside the company that actually likes to do it. But if she didn't, I would probably still be doing that. And we've gone across the spectrum of having a big, fat, sort of a GC, if you will, of marketing, who then has all sorts of different people that she could tap into, and she helped us do our first brochure. So I think there is a balance of you do need the company. So when I have to give an ad to Kathy, I need someone who can match her caliber. I need to look like I can go into New England Home, right? So I have to have my ad person available. But getting that person to understand me and tell that story, that's the hard part. And that's why I just love so much having my team backing me on the marketing, because they do get us, right? They do know what our story is, and you don't have to teach them. So that's another piece that, it's just finding your way and finding a balance with the people who get you and can tell you and tell your story.
Thank you. Eric? On your team, do you have people who help with that? Do you have somebody who's in charge of it? What does that look like for you? And how do they maintain your company's voice?
Yeah, so I felt 2 years ago we hired someone in-house who, I think his technical title is creative director, but we kind of refer to him as a storyteller, because ultimately, as has been said already, the storytelling has to be an authentic reflection of who the company is. And after trying different ways of completing that work externally, we felt like we had some good success and some challenges, and we thought, how can, the best way for you to tell that story authentically is to have someone who's living in the company, who can go out and see the people and meet the collaborators and capture that content, which prior to that was me attempting to compose shots on my iPhone that were suitable for some social media, which is fine, I think, some of the time. But I think it's also important just to, at least for us, that these are all group endeavors, right? And no matter how much pride and passion we have for our teams and our companies and our products, what we are able to accomplish is a byproduct of a larger collaboration. And so for us, marketing, especially like the grit, comes internally, but the polish is almost always a collaboration with a professional photographer. And for those of you, like I've talked to a lot of younger companies, and you can go on lots of people's websites that have iPhone shots of their work, and it really can belie the beauty of the finished product to not have it taken by someone who has a professional capability to do that, and not just in the capture, but also in post, like any editing or anything like that. Because as Allison said, like if you want to do an advertisement in a magazine, or submit for an award, or I don't know, anything that you want to push it out to for the world to see, the more sophisticated the photography is, that's always, at least in our experience, been the basis for for showing off great work. And I'll also say, especially in social media, engaging the other people that are part of the process. So whether that's, recognizing subcontractors, recognizing design collaborators, that's, I always have a, what's the expression? I always have a chip on my shoulder, because I feel a lot of times in mass media, the builder's marginalized. There's a lot of accolades and focus on the architecture, the design, the sofa, and those and even the photographer, their names are always listed, and sometimes the builder's mentioned, sometimes not. Since I'm a builder, I'm always the one being like, what about us? Like, we made that happen. So I think we're able to overcome that by really talking about that and talking about the collaboration. And I think that this is a relationship business, right? Like, we build relationships with our team, with our clients, with our collaborators, our subs, our vendors. And so we should all kind of share in both the amplification of the great work, but also in the recognition of it. So, and in the composition of it, in terms of how we compose these glossy photos or messages to the world. So it can be a very involved and dynamic and expansive endeavor.
So in thinking about that, and Peter, I know that you are very often, I know that you focus a lot on the financials in your company. I know that's important for all of us. In thinking about, Eric, what you're saying about the professional photography, I know for a lot of folks as they're getting started, that's often a big investment when you're not used to spending on marketing. Peter, can you share with us a little bit about how you budget for your marketing? Like, what does that look like in your company?
Well, I won my first Cody Award in 1992 because I think I was the only one that had a professional photographer. And that's true. And I've won every year since because I always use professional photography. It's always been an investment I've made. And so it made my work look better than yours, but it probably wasn't better than yours. It just looked better than yours.
Well, you need that process photo. Proof of craftsmanship.
Yeah, proof of craftsmanship. So photography, pay for photography. Because once you have your photography, you have a way to tell the story. And then once you have the story and the photography is on your website. And you can push people through your website, whether it's through social media or through search optimization. So so then the photography is where you bring people to. We build beautiful things for people, whether it's a beautiful deck, beautiful sunroom, beautiful bathroom, whatever it is, it's beautiful things. So you have to show that, and I've always shown that. So I've always put money aside for photography, even though it's $2,500 a pop. A day of photography is $2,500 a pop. I mean, at least, maybe it's more. But I know it's at least that. But it's worth it when you get, if you can only afford one photographer once a year, then do it, because that money comes back in terms of promoting. I mean, I did a job for Martin Gottlieb in 1991, and it was a bathroom, and I had it professionally photographed. And then I made it look like all I did was beautiful bathrooms. And I still think of Martin Gottlieb's bathroom in 1991 because I was so proud of it, but I sold it and I marketed it and I let people know I can do this kind of high-end work. And then I used Martin's bathrooms to do really nice kitchens. I built on Martin's bathrooms. Don't forget Martin Gottlieb from 1991 because those people are important in the building of our business. So I think putting aside money and doing photography helps tell the story so that you can kind of then use social media and search optimization and build your website to tell that story. And so 2.5% is generally the amount of money that I expect to spend on marketing each year from my annual budget. If you want to know a real number, 2 to 3% generally is the number. But marketing's also shifted. It's really moving more digitally these days. And I think that's really important to pay attention to that. For years, it was paper and print, and it's just shifting to digital. I think what Kevin's doing with Instagram is brilliant.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about the different channels that you guys use. Like, what do you find is your most effective channel yourself for getting your message out? And I'd really love to hear, how do you measure that? In what ways do you know? Like, if people, I recall when I first thought, okay, I should try to grow the business at all. I thought, well, I either take out an ad or I join BNI and do a networking thing. But there was nothing beyond it other than thinking I'm going to pay some money out for an ad. I didn't know how to track it. How do you track it? What's your most effective channel, and how do you track the ROI?
Well, today it's really kind of SEO, search optimization for us. My son is a 32-year-old web designer, search optimization specialist in San Diego, and he's been doing our work for, I don't know how many years now, 4 or 5 years. And I've been amazed of how he's really gotten the amount of leads to shift and change through his optimization work in terms of making sure that our website is optimized and how he pushes social media to get there. That's been a shift. 5 years ago, I would not have said that. But today, the digital marketing has really been the change. But you got to have photography to do digital marketing.
Eric, what do you find is the most effective channel, and how do you measure the ROI on it?
I have no idea. We apply the spaghetti on the wall approach. So no, in all seriousness, I felt when we did our first magazine ad that I was like sitting by the phone when the magazine came out. I'm like, all right, this baby's gonna ring. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It's taken me a long time to realize that. But I think you have to do a little bit of everything. You have to do a little digital, and you have to do a little print, and you have to do awards, and you have to, do social media and all the things. And I think the greatest way that you measure your success in marketing is generally your success in business. How many qualified leads are coming in? How many people, when you ask them, how did you hear about us? They're able to articulate, oh, I saw you I saw your ad, or I saw something else. But I think most of the time, people don't even really recognize that. I think if I'm being truthful, the most recognized marketing channel for us is our trucks, which I would never have thought,
Do you ask? Is there a process? Do you have a process where you ask where people hear about you?
We do, and but a lot of times people don't remember. They don't know. Again, like that first magazine ad, I don't know that of all the time and pride and everything we've put into print media, I'm not sure we've ever had someone say, I'm calling you because I saw this ad. But we still do it because we feel like it's an important part of an overarching strategy.
Allison, how about you? What do you find is your most effective channel that you use for communicating, and are you able to track a return on investment?
Your newsletter. I'm so glad Eric went before me, because I was going to say the same thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so I write a monthly newsletter, and it goes out to 1,500 people. I don't know what the open rate is. I can look it up.
I open it.
Peter opens it.
It's at least one.
Yay!
4, 5,
yay,
6, 7, 8, 9. We got a big group here.
We're getting info.
But I think what's coming up for me is at the beginning and at the end. Not that I'm at the end, but having gone over a little bit of and so at the beginning, the answer is do marketing, period, of some kind. Just do it. You are it. You are going to be your story. At the end, do it. You are it. You are going to be your story. In between, you find ways to do the parts of it that you love. So as a company owner, it's super challenging because you've got 1,000 other things to do. How do I also add in doing marketing? So you find the thing about it that you love, that you don't feel like is work and energy. So if social media is work and energy, set it aside. Find someone else to do it. Hire Cheryl. If you like writing, which it turns out I did, I just started writing one day. I just thought, okay, this is something I like to do. I'm going to put it out there and see what happens. And then 10 people said, oh, that was really cool. You should do it again. So I was like, oh, okay. And now I've been doing it for 5 years and I can't get off the hook and I have to write something every month because Cheryl writes me a note and says, Allison, that was great. I can't wait for your next one. But that's become my piece, my thing, and I do love it, and it is authentic, and it is a way for me to maintain those relationships over time. They're wildly personal because I'm okay with that. I'm very comfortable sharing my personal experiences, and if it helps other people, I love that. And that tells a story about who I am as a business owner. It tells a story about how I work with clients. It tells a story about how I want to work with designers and vendors and all you guys. So I've just begun to rely on that. So so again, at the beginning, that's the part, is find the thing that you love the most that best tells you who you are. You'll go through a process of touching in with big organizations that are going to say, I'm going to take you to the moon and you're going to be famous and have a Hollywood Square, and you sort of go, okay, I'll keep going. But then at the end, after you've done all of that stuff and you've built all your relationships, all people want to know is who are you? Why do I like you and why do I want to work with you? So I want to be that person that people know, and then they'll hire me. The right people will hire me.
Can you answer one question that I don't think you asked? There's a couple of ABCs. Have a lead sheet. And the lead sheet should collect information about why people are calling you and where they got your name. And then you can kind of tabulate the lead sheet on Excel and figure out which lead sheets equal what sales and how much money you spend in those categories. And as the years go on, you begin to see themes. I know, and this is a 20-year figure, 67% of my work comes from referrals and past clients. That has been wavered 3-4% over 20 years. So this data tells you where to invest your money. Do photography, do a lead sheet, and that's the AB of marketing.
So you brought up something I was going to get at, which is if you're getting 67% of your work from repeat clients.
Past clients and referrals.
Right, okay. Marketing, I think, plays a slightly different role in 2/3 of your business because those you're pre-qualified to those individuals, right? So it's super important to know those things, but I don't think it necessarily I tell everyone we're a referral-driven business, right? I think it's something similar, 75 to 80%. But that means we're really focusing all of our marketing energy and dollars on that other 20% or whatever.
That's correct.
Well, and I think I've heard a lot of people say that if you're a company that's doing well and you're comfortable and you're not necessarily looking to grow, relying heavily on referrals and past clients is an easy thing to do. But if you're really looking to grow and maybe talking about your growth plan and what role marketing plays with that, because you can only grow so much with referrals and testimonials or referrals and past clients. So I think that's what you're hitting on, Eric. And Allison, I'm curious for you as well, like how does it figure into your growth plan, the marketing dollars that you spend and effort that you spend?
Yeah, you have to stay relevant, and I think that's the piece. Like, I don't know if I was the same way. I was like, "Ooh, this ad is good. Someone's going to call now."
They call for the painkiller.
Yeah, right, exactly. Where did you get that light
they're
fixture?
always calling for that.
Do you have a $1 million project I could do?
I'll give you painkiller if I can do
But I did always like the idea of I want to be out there because I want to be relevant, so that when somebody says, have you heard of FH Perry Builder, the person says, oh yeah, I saw that. I saw them in the Beacon Hill Times. I saw them in New England Home. That's right, somebody forwarded me a post about them. There's a way of needing to stay it's not about necessarily like crashing into the market and making sure you take over like sort of massive amounts of market share, but you need to be relevant to the market that we're in, one. And two, I need to make sure I'm marketing to the people who are giving me the work, which for us, unlike for Peter, is architects and interior designers. So I need to make sure you guys know me and love me and care about me and know my story and know how I'm going to take care of your clients. So that's like a place where we spend a lot of energy and a lot of things that we think about. The more architects I know, the more people who understand me, the more work I'm going to get. So really staying relevant on the marketing side, but really targeting where my work comes from feels really important.
So it sounds like you're saying that having that, so marketing could be like advertising, trying to get the lead, but it sounds like what you're saying is that by having the branded message out there of the glossy photos gives you loft when people hear about you. So
I just wanted to, it's a relevancy. But I just have to share this because it's very funny because you said the thing about trucks. So we don't have trucks. FH Perry Builder has never had trucks. I cannot tell you how many times people have told me that they've seen our trucks. So maybe they see Eric's truck, so thank you. But it is like that, I just love that story. Like literally, and I never correct them because that would be so embarrassing, right? Oh, really? But there is this like way in which people want to know that they've seen you somehow or that they've heard you somehow. And anytime I've asked like, what magazine? Oh, I don't know, it was one of those. So again, it's just being enough of a brand name recognition that helps. And then again, targeting specifically, that's where our energy goes, is how do I take care of you architects so you'll want to give me a job.
Great, thank you. Kevin, going back to your communication channel, I know you talked about Instagram a lot. It sounds like you're very active. You're getting a lot of traction with that. Do you have a way of measuring that outside of followers and likes? Can you monetize that? Totally, can you look at it on a track sheet and know where things have come from? Or?
Well, yeah, I ask everyone. This is one of my qualifying questions. Where did you hear about me? Along with budget, schedule, all the other stuff. So. Yeah, and honestly, we get maybe a third of our work through Instagram at this point. I mean, we're talking about the grit and the polish. Like that's the real stuff. That's where I get my message out, my personal message. But it has to be validated by like New England Home. I have to do the polish stuff because I can't just go on Instagram and talk about all this stuff, and then. People call their architect and they're like, well, I don't know who that guy is. I'm not going to work with him. You have to have name recognition for any of this to work. You have to build your brand, and that takes a long time. So, I've been doing Instagram just a few years, really, and since I started, it's become a passion of mine just because it helps me get my message to more people, and every day I can see. The impact of that because I have that direct interaction through messages, comments, all that other stuff. So it's not even about the likes or the followers. It's really about the engagement. But all the engagement in the world doesn't help me build a house, and it doesn't help me have high quality work that I'm doing. It doesn't do any of that. So it's just a way to spread that message, I'm not a huge consumer of social media. I just found a way that I can connect with people who want to hear from people like me because people are obsessed with their houses. I mean, I think they are. And you go to a party and all people want to do is talk about their remodel and ask you questions, And I'll say when I'm at events like this or New England Home or IFDA or anything. At least 3, 4, 5 people come up and talk to me about my Instagram. And I see people on the street, they walk up to me, they walk up to my team, and they're like, we follow you guys on Instagram. So it's
an awesome story.
Yeah, it works well. It works really well. But it's got to be real and genuine in the gritty sense, but it has to be validated by the polished world. You got to have both of those because I don't think, at least the way I do it, I can't get my message across through an ad in a magazine. I can't get my message across from my website because that's all portfolio stuff. I need to show what I'm doing and talk about, actually talk into the microphone on my phone about like what I care about. And that, I think that's the connection that I make with, with people. And I get a lot of feedback about that. I should say, related to the magazine ad in the polish world and the photography, styling is critical. So you can't just hire some famous photographer and have them come take shots of your work. But like, first of all, your work has to be amazing. That's a given. So everybody who's trying to get there, first step, do amazing work. Second step, care deeply about it and be really passionate about it. And then find the best people to document that for the polish world and put a whole team together. So when we take when we do photography, Cheryl's there, she helps me. We bring in a stylist, we work with the photographer, we have the interior designer, the architect, everybody's there, and we're all just trying to like create, tell the combined story of the team. Like what did we try to do here? What's the end result we were all as a team trying to work for?
Which also means you can split the cost.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, completely. Yeah. And get the magazine in earlier. Maybe they can pitch in too.
That's good. Thank you. I think. Yeah. So right now we have about 15 to 14 minutes left. So I'd love to take some questions from the audience, and you can try to stump the panel.
I've got a question.
Mike, you can go first.
To help us avoid mistakes, is there a decision, a campaign, or an approach that you tried and massively failed?
You fail most of the time.
Since we don't know what works, I think everything works.
What's failed? It's okay if you haven't failed before.
No, I'll take the microphone, but I don't really have a great answer. Just like I don't know how to quantify the ROI. I
have one back. I don't know, whatever year it was. I was doing workshops in my office, and we would a lot of effort to get the workshops in our office. 20 people would show up, and they'd all show up with their plans, and then want your feedback on it. And then you drive by the house, and they have some mid-range builder doing the project, and I just hated doing those workshops. A lot of time, not a great return, a lot of tire kickers. It didn't work for us. Though in other parts of the country, I know people who rave by their workshops. A couple of people in Northern California, they think it's the only thing that gets them on the map. You figure it out.
I would.
Sponsorships too.
Well, what I was going to say was, if you, I can't think of a specific failure, but I'm sure I've failed a lot. That's a fact. But I think when things are successful, at least I do. When you're doing stuff and you are successful, you know that it's working. But I would say when it's not working, get something out of it. Find what you did wrong, or find a little bit of lemonade in the lemons. I have an outlook where I get something from everything I do, whether it's good or bad. Everybody's got a nugget. Everything you do, you can learn from. So.
I was just going to say, Kevin's a supreme networker.
Oh, and networking is a huge part of my, I have a different way of doing things. I have kind of a sort of a grassrootsy type of thing that I'm doing on the rough side. And really, I'm all about personal contact and getting to know people. I have lunch with people a lot. I go to everything and talk to everybody and meet new people within the industry and outside of the industry. Just getting to know people is a huge thing. And I guess that's part of why the Instagram's working for me too, because I put my personality into it. I include my personal life, and I want people to know me, who I am. As Eric said, what my values are personally and what the company values are. So just kind of meeting people is huge,
I'll share a failure.
No, I was just going to add a failure too. As a magazine, to your point, when Instagram first got started, we launched a product to do Instagram because no one wanted to do it, right? But it came through that it wasn't authentic, that it wasn't working. So we had to pull the plug on the product. We did it for just over a year, and we had to say no. And now we worked on building our own Instagram, and then we offer posts to that audience, but we had to scrap it. And it was a directive from corporate, not the local owners, thank God. So, but it didn't work. Big failure.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Other questions? Yes.
Hi. So I think we once had a conversation probably 5 years ago about marketing. I remember kind of people waffled when they were asked this question, and I actually have 3 questions, so you can cut it off. But one of them is, what percentage of your budget do you use basically a lot for marketing? Okay.
So Peter answered around 2 to 2.5%.
2 to 3%, somewhere in that range.
2 to 3.
That's 2 to 3% of the gross revenue.
Same.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
And then
Feels like too much.
about the fact that, so many of, you and my business myself, we get a lot of repeat work, basically client referrals. What do you do to kind of touch those clients? It's one thing to have your ads and everything else, but what do you do to keep yourself front and center?
So how do you market to your past clients in the best way? Can you guys share your?
Swag. Swag.
So just give them free stuff.
Here's a cutting board with an FH Perry logo on it. Put your cheese on it.
Every year?
Every year.
Okay. Cool. And newsletters.
Yeah, swag is big. Newsletters. We get, to our long-term clients, we send gift baskets around the holidays. We'll send flowers in the spring, stuff like that. Honestly, like for me, like if we have ongoing relationships with most of our clients, but if we're not doing, we've got one client now. We had a 5-year break between projects. They had they bought a new property, and now we're working on that. But in that break period, they became huge Instagram fans, and they were just looking at what we were doing, and they just kept getting more excited. And then when it's time to do their project, they're like, "Let's do everything you've done on every other project. It's awesome. That awesome thing, this awesome thing. I'll take it all. Give it to me." Am I spending what all these other people are spending? There is a competitive aspect to it.
But it gets but I don't want to be like cavalier. It gets expensive, right? So it's the same thing of writing a note on a note card that has your logo on it. All of it counts. The personalization is the piece, and that counts.
Do you touch base with them and ask them, do you know someone? Do you specifically ask for that ask? Do you know someone who's looking for work? Do you ever reach out to any of these people?
Probably not that specifically, but again, most of our work comes from architects and interior designers, so I ask them a lot.
And my last question is, at what point, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not monopolizing this. At what point do you, or how have you used when you are published to your advantage with some of your clients? I know, for instance, Boston Home featured a project, we did a kitchen, and if I have to do one more navy blue and white kitchen, I'm going to throw up. Okay. And I can't go back. I can't do it again. But I can tell you that, it's amazing. It's the gift of people. So how do you take that when you are published and do it, and basically, make it so that it becomes to your advantage, and how do you market that to your clients?
Just a quick opinion. My experience is I've been published over the years. It makes me feel really good. I can't tell you that it's amounted to much work.
I get so much work from that.
Great. Yeah.
From that one piece.
That hasn't been my experience, I feel like.
But it's probably a difference between builders and designers.
I think for us, it's. We certainly amplify it on our website. We put it out in social media, and A very relevant recent example, we're super lucky to be in the current issue of New England Home, and I just walked a potential client through that property the week before the issue came out. So I put a little bow on an issue and I sent it to them with a note, and I said, thought you might enjoy seeing the property you just walked through. That's a super specific example. I can't say that I can do that very frequently. But that's what you do. Right, but it's we're looking for so few people. Our business is looking for so few people to do work for that I feel like there's this kind of dichotomy between a desire to reach a huge audience and kind of the reality that we only need to convert a small percentage of it. And so I think that's really what we're all saying up here, which is being authentic to our own voice is trying to identify those like-minded individuals who pick up on Kevin's tendency to like catalog the whole process, and Allison's voice in her writing, and I don't know, our spaghetti approach, you know? So there's, it's hopefully more sophisticated than that, but so we're just trying to find those few people that see the world the way we see it, because ultimately it's going to set ourselves up for success once we start working together, because we share values, we share a common view of the world, we see things the same way. So.
Cheryl.
My question is, what do you guys turn down? Because I know that a million offers and things come your way. Do this, so what do you turn down? What do you say no to?
For projects?
For marketing, for, advertising, if you want to be in this thing or whatever.
Yeah, I think, the reason that I participate in this organization is because I think that what we do is hyper-local. We're doing a project in Providence right now, which seems like another planet, No offense. Justin's based in Providence. It's a great planet. But so, yeah, exactly. You don't belong here. So Allison said Architectural Digest. So like for me, it would be a huge ego boost to be in Architectural Digest, but I don't think it would be worth a penny. I would much rather allocate money to one of our awesome local magazines. Being on lists, buying lists. I don't
Any
know
of
what
those,
else.
they call you up and they say, we're going to give you a free spot in our fabulous glossy magazine. We're from Austin, Texas, and they sell you, and you think everybody's going to see it and it's going to be fabulous. Nope. The Architectural Digest Boston version insert that's going to go to every high-end client you've ever wanted to touch and know. Nope. Like all that glossy, glitzy, big glam.
Even TV stuff.
Yeah. Any of that stuff, I got sucked in. So there's my mistake, Mike. I got sucked in because it sounds so cool and sexy and awesome, and we'll be famous.
And it's free until the end.
It's free until the end, or it's free until. Could you please get all of your trade partners to advertise or pay money to advertise and for blah blah blah. But yeah.
Go for it.
I'm at the stage where I've organically grown. I have a very good reputation, and I'm starting to do some sales training, and I said, you'll never get to that next level. We've bumped to the next level. This has been crazy informative to me. I thought marketing was a little bit different of targeting more people. And what's great is I feel like I have a story to tell, which is, it's great to behold. But how about anybody, any panelists, start with that organic and tell me about the pain of the customer you had then to maybe the pain you don't have. Did it help qualify that customer that really fits you? Which we're trying to do that, and I think we're 101 right now. It sounds like that maybe is where you're targeting. You get that person that has your personality. and then it's a smoother operation as opposed to maybe getting the wrong client?
So about 20 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago, I developed an acronym, and it's VIRTUE. And it's been my marketing foundation ever since. Our clients are looking for value for their investment. That's the V. They're not looking for price. They have to have the resources for investment. They have to have a certain amount of money to afford us. That's the I. The relationship that we have with them was key. We need to build their trust. We need to offer something unique in how we serve them. And we have to be excellent in all phases, whether it's from the first phone call to the last person on the job site. So that's been the virtue. That's been the client that I look for. And when I hear from my salespeople today some things that don't match that, I'll say, sounds like speed's more important than anything else. Why are we wasting our time here? So it's for me, that acronym gave me kind of my vision, and it's never really left who I'm looking for, and it's got to be 25 years old.
I think one of the things I've heard from everybody here is that having first focusing on who you all are and who your company is, and then making sure that your messaging always stays true to that vision of either who you are or aspirationally who you want to be, helps you to identify the right clients, and the right clients then are able to find you because they connect with that message that you're putting out. And I think what you're asking is, then once you get to that point and you're doing that type of marketing, do you feel like it has helped you to eliminate some of the stuff that you don't want?
Yeah, I think if you're in magazines and you're showing off, multi-million-dollar projects, we don't get as many calls for work that doesn't reflect the stuff that we're putting out to the world. So I think there's some degree of that.
Yeah, I would also say the more choices you have, the better your choices are going to be. So to me, I want to put out a huge hopper. I want to hear from everybody, and then I want to pick the few people that I'm compatible with. And for me, that's people that respect me and have a high regard for me and my team, so I don't get into any toxic relationships with clients. If everybody's equal in the project just goes better. So to me, I'm really looking for compatibility. Obviously it's got to be an awesome project, the budget's got to be right and all that other stuff, but the compatibility for that 1 to 2 year marriage you're going to have with a client, that's really key, because if you go into something having, anxious about whether or not it's going to work, you probably should just turn around and not do that. And having more choices enables you to do that, and it takes time. But so it is kind of a hassle a lot of the time. It's probably like not a complaint that most people think is something to complain about, having too many leads come in, but it's a lot of work managing that and trying to make the right decision, especially when you're looking at 2 different projects and you're like, which one's right for me? So to me, I'm always looking for that good client, and it sounds like that's what you should be doing too,
But when you do the work to know who you are, you can do that matching up so much more easily, and so you can begin to resist the temptation of any project that comes in, because I'm not going to love this person. I'm not going to like how this goes, and you begin to understand the differences between you and someone else who you may be competing with. Not on a job front, but on a hiring situation, I had someone say to me, well, I've got this other company who I know quite well. They're offering me thus and so and thus and so. And I said, well, I don't care what they're offering you. I'm not going to counter on finance. You go over there and spend time over there and decide if you're going to fit there. You come here and decide if you're going to fit here. If you fit here, you don't fit there. If you fit there, you don't fit here. Go, and I'll be here when you make your decision. And I don't think he ended up coming to us. He went to the other. You guys were all clients, and you had to pick us. You would sort. You would, because we are who we are, right? So I love that.
Definitely. I should also say that marketing your values is a great way to get awesome employees. So, this is, it's about getting, it's marketing to me is holistic. It gets me a lot of things besides access to good jobs. It's really the key to success, meeting people and getting your message out there.
I'll just shameless plug. So to tap onto that,
Yeah.
we spent so many years focused on Cody's and Prisms, and 2 years ago we submitted for Best Places to Work in Boston Globe, and we were super fortunate to get chosen last year and this year, and we've gotten more positive publicity. Not just, we thought that was going to be just a boon for like potential employees, but prospective clients actually respect that at an unbelievable level, in that it's a source for kind of a icebreaker. It's, for whatever reason, it touches a different chord. So I guess one thing I would recommend is like try something outside the norm. Try something that maybe it's really specific to what you do or how you do it, or again, your culture, your team, your philosophy, your worldview, charity, philanthropy. Like those are all things that when you identify those connections with other individuals who share that thing, that worldview or whatever it is, you'll have a much easier time establishing credibility, trust, rapport, and it really can, catapult you forward. Like, Patrick, just to single you out, like I know you spent a lot of time with the NAACP and a lot of energy, and I'm not the MSPCA. English is a second language to me. And like I always recognize that when I see those posts, because it makes me think of my dog, and so I value that about you, because I know that that's something you hold near and dear to your heart. And so things like that, you can make connections with people, and I think that's really valuable.
Yeah, I saw that come out about your best places to work, and I'm like, these guys nailed it. I'm like, why am I not doing this? Honestly, right?
Because you don't have 50.
And then
it's short-lived.
We've all checked it out.
Oh, it's 50? Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I think it's over 60 now, right?
Oh, I think it's 50.
So, at any rate, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate everybody showing up. It feels a little bit like we're at it may be toward the end of the pandemic, when we can all show up without masks and spend time together. Thank the four of you. Really inspirational to me. I learned a lot, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise and your experience with the rest of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.